Hey, welcome to this Photoshop tutorial. Hopefully it will get you used to using some of the tools you're going to be using in your projects, and also get you used to the interface and some of the windows to help you use Photoshop. Okay, I've started with a picture of a desert scene, and I'm going to want to put in a picture of a penguin and a picture of a small hedge. So let's first of all open the pictures that we want to use. So go File, Open, and then select the pictures that we want to put in. So our penguin and picture of the little hedge. Okay, great. Let's start with putting in the picture of the hedge. So we need to first of all go to the Layers panel, which is going to be one of the most important panels you're going to be using. So remember where it is. And as you can see, this project has only got one layer, which is the picture of the hedge. So we need to, by default it will be locked, so we need to unlock it to be able to work with it. So just double click and click OK, and it will call itself layer 0. Now you can rename the layers by double clicking and then changing and then pressing enter, and this will make it a lot easier to see what is actually in the layers of your project. Now we have layers so that each element of your project is individual to the next. So if we were to draw a shape onto the project, as you can see it's come up as a new layer. You can move these layers around so that it appears underneath the hedge, or in front of it, so you can control the order of your layers. Okay, let's delete the shape for now, we'll come back to that later. But to have this hedge individual, we need to delete the white background so that we can move it independently of the white background. So if we click the magic wand tool in the left hand side in our toolbox and just click the white in the background, it should automatically select it all. This is because the magic wand tool automatically selects all the pixels around your selection which are the same colour. So if I click here, it's selected all the pixels which are white, which is immediately surrounding the object. So we simply need to press delete on the keyboard, and it will delete the background. Okay, now we need to deselect the item. So Control and D on the keyboard, which will deselect it. And I obviously haven't deleted this layer properly as it's still there. Okay. Now the bush is free of the background, and you can see this has happened because of all the checkered dots. So as soon as the checkered dots appear, you know that it hasn't got a background, and that is all that is there in the image. So we select the bush by Control and A, and then edit, copy, and then we go back to our desert and edit, paste, or Control V. Okay, as you can see it's far too big for the picture, so we need to use the free transform tool. Now, this is a really useful tool, so remember this keyboard shortcut, it's Control and T, which will allow you to control the size and the shape of your image. So you could have it tall and skinny or long and stretched out, but if you want to keep it in proportion, I suggest using the pressing down shift on the keyboard and click, and then it will move in proportion, or if you make a mistake just Control and Z and that will bring it back to its former state. Okay, and press enter when you're finished transforming your object. Okay, let's navigate to our penguin. You can have several projects open in Photoshop and they will all show their label along the top here underneath the toolbar at the top. So we need to use a different kind of selection for our penguin. As you can see, if we use the magic wand tool, it won't do a clean selection around the outline because it can't tell what colour the pixels are because they're all different colours. So if we just Control and deselect that, and we're going to use the magnetic lasso tool. It's the third one down in your toolbox. If you click and hold, it should bring out a drop down box and go down to magnetic lasso. Okay, you can zoom in and out of your image by holding down Control and the plus sign to zoom in, or the Control and minus sign to zoom out. Alternatively, you can do it with the view menu. So go down to zoom in or zoom out, and there's also lots of other controls of how you can view your project. So let's go back to our selection. As you can see, as you click and drag around your image, it's actually being drawn to the outline of the object, so it makes selection a lot easier. Okay. If you make a slight mistake in your selection, don't worry too much, just so you can edit it out later. And I'm sure when you use this on your own, you'll do it a lot neater than I'm doing right now. Okay, when you finish your selection, it should come up with a moving dotted line which shows that the selection's there, and go edit, copy, and we go back to our desert image, edit, paste, and we should see our penguin here for us. So we need to neaten this up a little bit, so we make sure our layer is selected. As you can see, we now have 3 layers in our project. We've got the desert layer, then the bush layer, then the penguin layer. The penguin layer is above the bush layer, so when we move it, it covers up the bush layer when we move it over the top. So if we go to our eraser tool, we can actually remove parts of the penguin without affecting the rest of our project, which is really useful, as we don't want to delete bits of the background, we just want to delete parts of the penguin. So we just neaten up his head, because I've just chopped half of it off. Okay, that's not perfect, but it'll do for now. Okay, as you're doing this, to make it a lot neater, you can zoom in, Control and plus, remember. And we can also change our brush size in the tool presets at the top under the main menus. So at the moment it's on 30 pixels, so we can make it a smaller brush, which will make it a little bit more accurate, and also reduce the hardness so that it's not a clean cut, it just fades into the object, which makes it a lot more smooth looking. Okay, if we select our layer again and use the free transform tool, Control and T, so we can resize it to make it a little bit more lifelike. Remember to hold Shift to keep it in proportion. Okay. To make it blend into the background a little bit more, a useful tool to use is the blur tool. Now it's under the collection with the blur tool, sharpen tool and smudge tool. So we select the blur tool, just zoom in on your object and just blur out the edges of it. So it just blends into the background a bit and doesn't look so cut out. Okay, we can zoom out and see the actual effect of what our tool's just done. Okay, so that's basically covered how to put different elements into a photo, making them look a little bit more realistic. It's covered selection and some of the most common tools that you're going to be using in your project.